Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ and Friends. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and my guests today are the dynamic father and daughter duo, Dr. Joel Fuhrman and Dr. Cara Fuhrman, and they're going to be talking about how you can lose weight without willpower and talk to you about their 21-day super immunity detox. Please welcome them both to the show. Nice to see both of you again.
Thank you so much for having us. We're excited to be here and be here together. It's really
Well,
exciting.
I did not know that you guys were such a dynamic duo. Those of you that came to the first plant-powered party in Vegas saw that together they're fantastic. They're great separately as well. But Dr. Furman, I knew you were a great doctor and a great lecturer. I've been on the circuit with you for years. I did not know that you were hilarious, that you could sing, that you could dance, and that you could do stand-up comedy. Where have you been hiding these skills all these years?
At our house.
With my kids.
Dr. Cara Fuhrman, I just want to let you know that when you talk, we don't see you. You're not on screen when you talk.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, just so you know. I mean, I
Oh,
know.
I see, because it's putting my face up when she talks with both using the same microphone.
Yeah, so either he has to scoot you see what I mean? So we're hearing Dr. Cara Fuhrman, but we're not seeing her.
Oh, okay.
So should I, because
I think you
if I
could
don't share the mic, we'll hear an echo. We're in the same room. She could go upstairs to a different
To a
room.
different room.
I
Maybe.
think either that or scooched closer together.
Oh yeah, you could look at, you could,
Okay.
You could
we
scooch
could
closer.
go like this.
Sure. Okay, sure.
Yeah, and a little bit tiny more, scooch a little closer together. Perfect. Because we
Here.
want to
His chair is so
That
big.
chair's so big it's hitting me.
It's hard.
Chairs
okay.
won't.
We just want to be able to, because you're beautiful. We want to be able to see you
Let's see
as
if
well as
here,
hear
let
you.
me just
But
oh.
I asked you this in Vegas, Dr. Cara. Has Dr. Furman always been this funny? I mean, he doesn't always show it on, normal lectures, but I mean, you're hilarious, Dr. Joel Furman.
He's always been the king of dad jokes. That's true. Yes. He's always been funny.
Yeah,
You know,
because
it's funny. What's interesting is when my show's on PBS, I had a producer. Bob Marty was my producer. And I did this little piece called The Bluesberry Brothers, where I did a rap song, with another guy, and we were rapping, and I was dressed up with, like, had a skull and cross on my arm, and I looked like a rapper and everything. Had my underwear pulled up, my underwear, my pants pulled down. Rapping about food. And I said, this is kind of cool. Should I put this up on the website? PBS contacts me and said, no, no, no. You have a certain image as a doctor. We can't have you making jokes and putting yourself in those positions. We have to have you keeping your image as a doctor and stop joking around doing these things. So it's funny how the producer in PBS told me not to post stuff like that and not to put up jokes.
I think that's what
Yeah.
makes you really a human, approachable, and unique. And a long time ago, I don't think you remember, you came to my apartment like 15 years ago, and you did this thing. You dressed like a French chef. You were hilarious.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think people would love to see more
It
of
was
that.
just going, it was just going there and acting stupid and everything. And it was like, oh, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're both coming back to Vegas. And by the way, tickets go on sale November 8th. Both Dr. Furmans will be back, and we're not going to have an opportunity for stand up this year, but we're going to be doing improvisational comedy. I don't know if you ever did that or if you'd feel even comfortable doing that, but that's what we're going to be doing.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, I love that you're in it. So tell us, before we get into the topic of how we can lose weight in general, but specifically without willpower, you guys are opening very soon a center, aren't you, in San Diego?
Yes, and we're extremely excited about the center because, what's crazy is on average, it takes 17 years for medical breakthroughs to make their way into doctor's office. So that's 17 years. And on top of that, about 12 million Americans are misdiagnosed, which leads to unnecessary treatments. So what we've done is handpicked pieces of equipment from places in Europe, from places in the US, and cultivated this center where we can not only offer advanced imaging technologies with no radiation, that's very comfortable, has no, side effects, but also take people and help them once they're diagnosed with something. So we have two main pieces of equipment, one being a comfortable alternative to mammogram and MRI for breast cancer screening. That's not only radiation free and does not use heavy metals like gadolinium and MRIs, but takes 200,000 times more data points for a much clearer image. So you can actually measure the size of a mass that you see on the scan and track it over time. because it's all to anatomical size.
Yeah, when you do that, you see, the problem with it's one of the things we're talking about here is breast cancer, which is a major problem for women in America. There's so many overdiagnoses and misdiagnoses and false diagnoses that are harming women, and chemotherapy and radiation causes heart disease and other cancers to occur.
Mhm.
So not only does chemotherapy not and radiation not work for most cancers, most breast cancers, but it also is being applied to people who never even have cancer. So there's a combination. So it's really being a tremendous amount of. So what we're doing is we're giving people with slow growing tumors ability, you know, therapies, nutritional therapies predominantly that could stop cancer growth and allow for prevent reoccurrence. And of course, the appropriate people are going to get excisions when they need it, but so many people don't need anything done that are overdiagnosed and put through the worry and fear of treatments. What Cara was saying a minute ago, that the QT imaging machine can ascertain the exact AI volumetric size of a questionable mass that can follow it over time, like 8 weeks later, and see that it's not growing or growing too slowly, that it's not cancer, more accurately than a person doing than biopsying it and sending it to a pathologist, which are then going to overdiagnose people 30% of the time. So we're going to stop false cancer diagnosis, stop putting people through biopsies when they don't need them, and not exposing radiation to dense breasts that cause breast cancer. So that's
Mhm.
one of the things we're doing. But
Yeah.
we
And
have.
then we also have a bone scanner, which is an alternative to a DEXA. So also no radiation and more accurate because it looks at the bone microarchitecture, where DEXA looks at the bone density of a region. So the dense bone's on the outer layer of the bone. And then you have things like spinal stenosis and aortic calcifications that are also dense and can artificially raise a DEXA to look like your bone's healthier than it is. So this radiation-free scan looks at that internal microarchitecture, the important part that you need to look at with something like osteoporosis. And it's so accurate that it can even be used on kids to see how likely they are to have a stress fracture. And a lot of sports teams in Europe are using it. Those football, soccer players are using it all over Europe. And the best part about using that equipment is that we also have drug-free therapies to treat people, which we can where we're coupling a bone building technology called the lymphotherapy with something called soft wave TRT, which breaks up calcification and brings in new stem cells to the area to help people with the osteoporosis, arthritis, or any sort of pain they have, like if they have a tendon tear or any injury. So we're really specializing in helping people with this pain. And why it's so revolutionary for something like osteoporosis is because, just like my dad was saying with cancer therapies, they can increase your risk of cardiovascular disease and you become a patient forever. The same thing is true of osteoporosis because osteoporotic medications like bisphosphonates will increase your risk of atrial fibrillation. And then it causes esophagitis in the throat, which can put you on a PPI to help with that burning in your throat, which also causes to increase risk of cardiovascular disease. And there's a long list of side effects for these medications.
Yeah, many of these new osteoporosis drugs increase heart attack risk too. It's just crazy. I don't even think they should have these drugs in the market. But what we're so excited about is we have safe non-drug methods to not just cause reversal of bone, but to prove with the right testing with no radiation that we're actually growing back new bone. So what we have is both these equipment we have actually can build back and restore osteoporotic bone, increase the bone, and we combine that with our diet and exercise and lifestyle medicine to revamp them. And then by using the same machine, the lymph machine, with the soft wave machine, we can remove osteoarthritis from a joint, take away the calcifications, the scar tissue, the inflammation, restore cartilage building, and stimulate healing, including healing from fractures and from stress fractures. So we can restore bone youthfulness without surgery. So this new technology we've cultivated by some of this equipment we're talking about, we've gotten from all over the world. We're going to be the only place in the United States that has this constellation of various advanced equipment like this. And that combined with, as you know, with our lifestyle medicine, with advanced blood testing, with our nutritional therapies, we really can give people the opportunity to have them get younger, feel younger, live longer, and get rid of pain in their joints. So we're excited about working together and putting this together.
Yeah, it's really cool to bring through the technology that's advancing today and learning about everything, I've learned as a new doctor in school and doing all this research and then coupling that with my dad's 40 years of nutritional experience and his 40 years in practice of being such a renowned person in the field that has so much experience. So it's a really exciting venture, and we really feel like we can just help and change the lives of so many people, and that's what's so exciting.
Well, that is exciting. So when does the center open and can anyone come? Like, will you guys actually be working there? Like one of the Dr. Furmans could be somebody's doctor now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're both going to be working there, and the center opens November 30th. Right now, we're having a pre-opening special of 20% off if you book now before we're open. And we're working with a local hotel that's only 5 minutes away, where they're going to be offering 20% off for people who want to stay there and come to our center, because we are assuming that a lot of people might want to come from out of town.
And we're trying to work with, we haven't developed it yet. We're trying to work with a local restaurant, at least to offer Nutritarian meals so people coming in from out of town can get the food right near us. Because right now, we're not supplying the lodging and the food ourselves, but just this, right? But they'll come visit, but we're trying to get that done so they can go to the nearby restaurant and get the
Yeah.
food, or nearby
And
hotel and get good, healthy food and stay to,
and San Diego is just such a great place to feel like you want to take your health back. So you get to work with us and also be in the sunshine of the beach, which is just awesome.
I know I could never figure it out, Dr. Furman, why you stayed so long in New Jersey.
Me either.
me neither. When my wife and when I first finished medical school, I wanted to move to California, but my wife wouldn't leave her family. So the real reason is the family pressures of my wife. That was why we stayed there.
Love.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So the million-dollar question, will your center take any type of insurances, specifically Medicare?
No.
No, we take
Okay.
HSA and FSA health savings accounts, but no insurance.
Yeah.
Right. So, you talked about the QT scan, and there was a lady named Laura who saw you guys talk about this in Vegas, and she wants to know, what if how can a person get this technology other than coming to you if it's not available in their state?
You can go to the QT imaging website. They have, I think, 7 in the US, but they're going to be developing some more. And it's really just whatever locations they have on their website and whatever is nearest to you. But again, San Diego's beautiful.
If you
So,
want to go to Saudi Arabia bought 30 machines. In other words, it's spreading out in other parts of the country faster. It's going to spread in other parts of the world faster than some of this equipment will spread here,
yeah.
because it takes so much longer for things to change in this country because of the monetary situation, the investment of hospitals, the rigidity of medical care, and it's crazy. So they could be used and well respected as the gold standard around the world, but not in this country. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Right. Well, the thing is, if she was able to get to Vegas, San Diego's not that much farther.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only like a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
Because you did say that mammograms are especially not useful for dense breasts, right?
Or implants. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you look at an image, when you're reading the image on the radio with the radiologist, it looks white. A tumor looks white, and so do dense breasts, and so do implants. So it's really hard to see something that's white in a field of white.
Yep.
I think mammograms is barbaric.
Right.
They compress a woman's breast, they expose it to radiation, and then they increase the risk of getting cancer. And that's the way they're going to save your life from cancer. It's crazy. So this test doesn't compress the breast, person with implant. It dangles into a warm water bath.
I
Right?
love,
Yeah.
I don't know why I think that's funny, but yeah. It's why is there so much misdiagnosis and overdiagnosis with traditional mammograms?
Well, that's it. I'd like to just say the question, why the pathologists can't diagnose cancer accurately. And we go back to the mammograms, they're even worse. But the mammogram is the mammogram reader, the radiologist, if there's even a 1% chance or a 2% chance that they think they're not sure, it looks normal, but there's maybe a 1% chance it could be abnormal. And they can't tell all the time by looking at it, right? Then they can't take a chance of being sued, so they send you for the next level of testing, which is not accurate, which causes more inaccuracies. And doctors' main goal is to protect themselves from being sued. So they have to greatly overdiagnose. So if there's a 1 or 2% chance something could be abnormal, you're sent for a biopsy, right? So these screening tests don't detect cancer. They detect anything that looks normal, but if you can't tell if it's cancer or not, you get a biopsy. Okay, so now the person has a 1% chance of being abnormal, 1 in 100, and they're going for a biopsy. The pathologist can't tell if it's cancer or not either. He can tell if there's certain tests that are aggressive cancers, he knows it's cancer. But garden variety invasive ductal carcinoma and invasive lobular carcinoma, in most of those cases, the pathologist has to make a decision. And the pathologist too, wants to make sure he doesn't get sued. So he has to make sure that he doesn't miss any cancers by overdiagnosing things that aren't cancer as cancer to make sure he's not missing anything. So so scientists and researchers studying this field estimate about 35% of women postmenopausally who are diagnosed with garden variety breast cancer do not have an abnormality that's going to metastasize, kill them, or shorten their lifespan. And the majority of those women get chemotherapy and radiation, which then doubles or triples their heart attack risk and causes other cancers and can get premature death, let alone create chronic anxiety and fear in their life if they didn't need to, you know.
I would love you guys to talk about cancer at Vegas next year. That would be so
Okay.
cool. That
Yeah.
would be amazing. So
Well,
people can't stay at the center anymore, right? JC wants to know.
yeah, we had to shut it down.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Aw.
That's good,
Well,
but we're doing something that's,
that's
even more exciting. It's fun.
that's
And we've
fantastic.
had all these experiences, and more than 1,000 people went through our retreat. We never had one empty room in 6 years, and we've literally saved the lives of thousands of people, which is a blessing,
The
right?
transformations were
Yeah, it
unbelievable.
was a real blessing.
People were
So,
losing weight and getting off diabetes medications within 3 weeks.
yeah.
Well, this is just fabulous. And this is actually a way for people to work with you personally, because I know for a while, even in New Jersey, you weren't really seeing patients.
Right. So yeah, so they'd be able to work with us and work with me, certainly. So we're both going to be available. We're just trying we're both excited about this new thing we're doing. So it's
Oh, well, and I could see how happy you guys are, and I wish you every success. And you're also doing things online. And what we're going to talk about today is a program you have, and I'll be putting a link in very soon in the chat and the show notes. It's 21 day super immunity detox. So how can that help people not just lose weight, but without willpower? Because everybody knows it takes a lot of willpower to lose weight, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's a really unique program because, and it's really been so highly successful. You know, we've had this detox, it's been held twice every year since I think 2016, 2017, around that time. And it's because the participants receive such an extensive resource and ongoing support. They get progress surveys, they get live Q&As with both of us this year. In the past, it was just him. They get group coaching with some of other people on our team. And they get a lot of support tools that helps them succeed because you really need to get a PhD in nutritional science to succeed on this program. And you have to be a scientist of your own body. And we're really giving people the tools to learn how to do this within 21 days so that they can stay successful. And once the program is over, we have a survey that's sent out where people can fill in their progress reports so that they're staying up with it. And anyone that drops 5 BMI points and wants to share their success story to help other people also gets a present from our team. So it helps them stay motivated because in the beginning is when you need the most motivation. So your taste buds can change and you can adopt to this lifestyle so that later down the road, you don't need presents to keep going. Your body tells you how good it feels and you just want to keep going naturally.
Is 21 days enough to change your taste buds? Because, people have these food cravings. And I was wondering if you could talk about what is causing the food cravings.
Yeah, it's 21 days gives you the necessary time you need to learn this program. It's like you're getting your PhD, and people need to have this is a unique learning
Mhm.
experience. And we're saying here that without this type of learning, it's very hard to succeed with permanent weight loss because there's so many things people have to know, not just about what to eat but how to deal with their cravings, how to deal with their emotions, and how to deal with the obstacles to losing weight and keeping the weight off permanently.
Mhm.
So yes, you're right. 21 days is not necessarily enough to completely change your taste buds. That could take 3 to 6 months, but it gives them the knowledge, the expectation, and the continued support we give them ongoing after that to know that it's going to get better after the 21 days. But if you don't go through that first 21 days, is the most difficult part when you're dealing with the addictive withdrawal from food, and if you don't know how to interpret and appreciate what your body's doing for you, you're never going to succeed. So we're talking about now answering your question about food cravings is really going to answer why you need this information to succeed, right?
Yeah.
Carrie, explain
Yeah,
it.
my dad's discoveries on the root cause of food addiction and why so many people can't lose weight no matter what they try are truly groundbreaking. Unless people study and understand these principles, as we keep saying, they simply just cannot overcome it. You have to understand your body inside and out, and most people don't want to dive that deep. So these lessons that he's been trying to, explain to people for so many years are just under recognized, and they're the key to why people fail. So one of the things that I'm going to explain right now is the main cause of food cravings that my dad's been talking about for years and years. And the core driver of cravings is something we call the caloric rush, which is how many calories enter your bloodstream after you eat a meal. It's made up of two parts, the glycemic load and the lipemic load. The glycemic load refers to the rise in blood sugar after eating. So foods made with sugar or white flour cause a rapid surge. And the really important thing is that pizza, white flour, bread affect the body just like sugar does when we're talking about the glycemic load. And in contrast, foods like beans, other carbohydrates, release their calories very slowly over several hours. So that slow release means they don't trigger the same neurometabolic feedback loop in the brain that drives these cravings. And similarly, you have the lipemic load, which is the rapid flood of calories from animal fats or oils, which can deliver 200 400, even more calories into your bloodstream within minutes. And then by comparison, again, with the Nutritarian style of eating, fats from the whole nuts and seeds are absorbed much more slowly over several hours. So you can never experience that same quick rush. So why this? You're wondering probably why this fuels the addiction. And it's that sudden calorie spike that sends a powerful signal to the brain overstimulating dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter linked to pleasure and reward. So over time, this leads to dopamine resistance, where the brain's dopamine receptors just become less responsive, and your brain gets used to needing more stimulation to feel good. So the limbic system in the brain is the emotional center of the brain. It becomes desensitized and creates a cue-driven craving cycle, which means you start wanting a cookie because you see it or you smell it, but not because you're hungry. So the brain here learns that high calorie, fast entry foods feels rewarding, and you have that creation of tolerance and withdrawal, just like alcohol or drug addiction, that leads to these compulsive eating behaviors and why you feel off when you stop. So the next thing that is I want to explain here is the concept of being hangry. When they first transition off of addictive foods, or even when they're still eating addictive foods, they feel fatigued, irritable, or unwell, just like someone detoxing from a drug when they're not intaking that caloric rush. And once the body adapts to a nutrient-rich, slow absorption diet, the symptoms disappear and real hunger symptoms return, but you can't get there until you're working towards it. And that's why with this detox, having the tools is so necessary, because you have to overcome something that's happening in your brain. And we're going to be teaching people how to learn what true biological hunger is. And the reason that people have these symptoms of fatigue, irritability, and just not feeling well when they're not eating is because of the liver. The liver's primary job is to detoxify the body. But when you're eating, so the liver operates in two phases. You have an anabolic phase, which is when you're eating, and a catabolic phase when you're not eating. When you're eating, your body's focusing on building and storing. So it's converting, all the food that you're intaking into storage products like glycogen and fat, and you're not detoxing in that process. But when you stop eating, your body switches into the catabolic phase, and that's when it starts breaking down stored materials, removing waste, and truly detoxifying. So in an unhealthy body, that catabolic phase does not feel good. You feel the shakiness, the irritability, the brain fog when you haven't eaten in a few hours. So people interpret those sensations, and even in medical textbooks, they interpret those sensations as hunger and what we call hangry. But that's not true hunger. It's withdrawal symptoms. And it's one of the reasons that food addiction is so powerful, because when people feel these symptoms, they try to just mask them away with eating. And that just causes the cycle to start again.
Right. It sounds complicated, but these things overlap and they're intertwined like fibers of the cloth. There's a lot of this biochemistry, neurochemistry, and human physiology that goes on to make it very difficult for people to eat healthy and to feel comfortable with a lower caloric load. Unless they understand the way the body works, and unless they start to eat foods that can undo the damage to their neural limbic and mesenteric, the metabolic system. In other words, their gut is off, their system, the neural signals of the brain is off, and the brain is messed up too. It's wired now abnormally. So we can help rewire the brain, and we can help remove the detox withdrawal symptoms. We can help make them feel better so they're no longer craving. And it all has to do that, which takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with the right eating, getting the right nutrients into the body. and getting the right toxins out of the body so they don't feel like this drive to overeat is too overwhelmingly powerful. So we combine this weight loss detox means fuel the body with nutrients, remove the waste from the tissues, get a healthier body and immune system, and we will show you you will start to be more instinctually connected to the right amount of calories and feel that dieting is no longer so difficult. So it's the way the body, so you need what we teach is needed for many, many people to feel comfortable losing weight without feeling like this is so difficult, requires so much willpower, so much struggle, and so much discomfort. You have to know what's going on and know how to solve it.
And learning the science of why that's going on, I also think helps people because they're not thinking to themselves, like, something's so wrong with me, I can't do this. It's not for me.
This
They're
is
learning that
hard, I'm
it's
not feeling
normal.
well.
It's normal to feel this way. And that's what helps them. And that's why the learning is so important.
Yeah.
So when does the detox start? Cheryl would like to know.
November 3rd.
That's Monday. So guys,
Yeah.
register now.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
right.
and it runs through the November 23rd.
Oh, right. It's coming up next week.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And this is all done virtually.
All virtually. So anyone can join this.
How is it delivered? So will people log in every day? Is it pre-recorded modules? Will you be answering questions for people live? How is it delivered?
All those things.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll log in, they'll get all their resources that they can do on their own. And then they'll also have scheduled sessions for live Q&As and live lectures as well.
God, well, that's fabulous. And this is the first time you guys are doing this together?
First time together, yes,
Together,
but he's
yeah.
been doing it for years.
Yeah. So it's like a mixture of some canned session with live sessions too, with a lot of Q&A, a Q&A with me and Q&A with Cara. And also there's a lot of like discussions and explanations and people can communicate with us too. So it's good. And then
Oh, sorry.
no. Oh, then they can continue through the forums too with us as well.
And they can also communicate with other participants, which is one of my favorite things because I think when you're doing this, community is so powerful. And hearing from other people's stories and tips and tricks, learning from other people is really nice.
Well, it's very nice of you to start the Detox Monday so people can still binge, tomorrow for Halloween.
Okay.
Don't do that.
I'm just kidding. But, I always thought Halloween, I think that people that are food addicts or struggle with weight, I think it's a dreaded holiday for them because I find that starts the slippery slope for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, we should have some kind of holiday where kids get to practice and trial of snorting cocaine and smoking pot and shooting up with heroin. I mean, I'm being really stupid now, but of course, it's just, can you imagine this ridiculous holiday, giving kids addictive, cancer-causing, diabetes-causing, heart attack, brain-damaging foods and celebrating that? It's just
it is really terrible.
it's
I would say
insanity,
for people who struggle with Halloween specifically to focus on the non-food aspects of Halloween because there's so much more to Halloween, like the dressing up and being scared and going to haunted hayrides. And also, when I was a kid, we were the only house in the neighborhood that didn't give candy. And we were in a neighborhood that was very, very popular for trick-or-treating. People would come to our neighborhood for trick-or-treating. And at first I was like, how weird is my family? And then we started trick-or-treating and everyone wanted to go to our house because we gave out glow up necklaces and bracelets.
And we had like
And
silly putty balls.
so it's just like the house that was different and everyone wanted to come to.
Yeah.
Highly recommend focusing on the non-food aspect of Halloween.
Yeah, absolutely. Up.
Yes, we are, but we're having a surprise family costume contest on Halloween, so we can't tell each other what we're being.
Okay, I hope you'll post pictures.
Yeah.
And I've been having complaints that my volume is low. I've moved my mic. Hopefully that will improve it for the next important question. So how do you stop people having the desire to want to eat recreationally, like Halloween candy, for example?
Yeah.
It's a process that takes, months to learn, not weeks, and people have to understand that, but they also have to be comfortable being different from other people, and that's part of the process is when you are confident in your own choices and who you are, you're able to do this. You're able to go against the grain and understand that you want to feel good, and that's more important than what other people think of you. And I always recommend finding meals that you love that are nutritarian and other people who aren't nutritarian are also going to love, and be the hosting house. Like, say, I want to have people over so you can make the meals, or when you go somewhere, bring meals. And if you don't have time to cook something elaborate, bring a salad or a fruit plate so that it's something that you can eat and share with people. And also, if they don't want to join, great. But if they do, great. And I've gone to parties where I bring a huge salad and I come home with, 3/4 of it because me and my fiance are the only ones that ate it. And so be it. I made meal prep.
Karen makes great food, but we're all into recipes too. We're real foodies, and we love making healthy food taste good, as you do. So that's fun for us. But I think we're not just talking about cooking and recipes, and we're not just talking about how good for you to eat vegetables. We're also talking about changing a person's outlook in the way they see the world, how they see the world outside themselves. And we're talking about developing a passion for living and a passion for good health. And that stems from having robust emotional health, where you see that you matter and your contribution to the world matters. And you start to want to be the best version of yourself, both physically, intellectually, and emotionally, which can only happen if you take best care of your health and get off some of these drugs that that make cause brain fog, including the drugs people are eating in the food. Bottom line is that we're teaching people and we're helping to train and have them practice not just eating healthy food, but also practicing healthy behaviors and emotional thoughts in a way that's going to benefit their health, be at peace, make them sleep better, and feel the internal emotional strength where they don't need to have other people approve of them. They don't need to be, they feel good about themselves and proud of what they're accomplishing. So it has to do with appreciating the world outside yourself, seeing the beauty in the world and what you have to be grateful for, and developing compassion for others in a way where your contribution adds to benefit other people as well. And that those things start to develop your passion about living and your passion for getting things done what you can accomplish that are better for yourself and others simultaneously. And that contributes to your ability to stay on a diet. It's
Mhm.
amazing how when we start teaching people about having robust emotional health and having good brain function and taking good care of their health, their physical and biological health, it works together and they strengthen each other. And so part of that answer to the question of, how people can stick with it or how do they learn in such a short time is that we're addressing all many different factors that contribute to failure or success.
And specifically with socializing and social eating, I think something that's really powerful in the beginning when you are working towards your emotional health and confidence with your choices is mindful eating mantras and really talking to yourself before you go to these events, like prepping yourself before you get there. I love, you can have a mantra like pause before you plate because you want to put everything on your plate before you go for the wrong things. Or if it doesn't love you back, don't eat it. And repeat these mantras to yourself before you walk into a social event so you change your perspective and you realize how lucky you are to have this knowledge and how lucky you are to eat this way before attending these events. Don't go into an event in a frantic, like really ravenous, hungry state where you're not going to be able to control yourself, but maybe eat before you go and practice your mantras in the car before you walk in.
Great. So, watching live, we have Crystal, and she wants to know if you have any suggestions for those who have trouble eating with depression. So, would you say a complete emotional or psychological makeover is necessary for success?
Yes.
Yes.
You're in agreement.
And we have, and we're going to affect that depression with both emotional techniques and thought processes, and also with biochemically through food and supplements as well. So the problem is everything's an answer for a drug, and drugs don't remove cause, and they have limited efficacy because they don't deal with cause. And then build up tolerance to them and side effects, which over time lead people in a vicious depressive cycle. And once you get into the cycle of anxiety and depression, it becomes a loop that keeps building. You don't know how to get out of. So yes, it may be the case that this person with depression maybe needs to speak to us or set up a consult or talk to me on the Ask the Doctor forum and join, be able to, because we can communicate to people through the website. Maybe that she won't get all the attention she might need, but we could still have ways we can give her more personalized attention to help her get out of that depression loop, you know.
Mhm. A lot of what I do with my patients, in addition to helping them with their health conditions, is it's like a therapy session. We're working a lot on changing their perspective and their emotional well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there, so here's a good question from Judy, who's watching live. She wants to know if you're already whole food plant-based, but struggle with overeating, will your 21-day program help? And if you aren't a foodie, are there a lot of recipes to follow?
That's exactly the point, is that we're making the statement that even a lot of whole food plant-based people are still overeating and still don't know the reasons why they're still craving food. It's not just so there's some limitations to certain types of whole food plant-based diets and limitation to the learning that they learned that got them interested in this way of eating. Certainly, they made great changes in the right direction, but they still need a wider knowledge base. A lot of it we talked about here already to be able to ascertain, like an artist scientist, their own caloric window and what their body's needs are. So we're saying that chronically eating till full or chronically overeating leads to the insufficient ability to digest and the production of more fermentation and bacterial overgrowth, and leading to habituation with overeating that can be just from increased toxicity from not digesting food well. So habitual overeating leads to habitual overeating. And this idea that if you're whole food plant-based, you could eat as much food as you want and still lose weight is just a myth. It's not. We want people to be able to eat rightly and eat healthfully and also know their caloric window. Know what's there. Is there a window that they should be eating in the 1350 to 1500 range, or the 1200 to 1400 range? Is the six, they should know what's the perfect caloric window to them. And then if they eat a diet with this degree of nutritional density and nutritional diversity, including the exposure to nuts and seeds for fat, we can have them produce enough natural GLP-1 inhibitors, just endogenously produced, and other hormones that make them desire less calories, and also have them now instinctually desire the amount of calories they require. We want a person who only requires 1,300 calories a day to be at their ideal weight to only desire 1,300 calories a day. We don't want there to be a decoupling or a mismatch between the amount of calories they require and the amount they desire. So a lot of people, like this person asking an excellent question, why her caloric requirements and what she feels like eating isn't coupled with the amount of her, what would achieve, which weight loss to the going to her ideal weight. You want to mention something about that, Cara?
Yeah, we use the term precision nutrition because whole food plant-based doesn't mean enough. You can be eating whole food plant-based, too much of a lot of things, as my dad said. But when you couple greens, beans, and you learn exactly what you're supposed to be doing with this detox, it's really, really helpful to make small tweaks that get rid of that food addiction and get rid of those even whole food plant-based cravings, because those cravings also still do exist if you're not doing it properly.
Yeah, and also the combination of those three things that Cara just mentioned, just want to be clear. Green vegetables, beans or legumes, and nuts or seeds. We know that in the last 5 years, increasing the plant protein in a diet, especially as a person ages, lead to sustained and significant increases in human lifespan. And those three plant foods are, out of the five plant foods that there are, those three have the highest amount of protein, but they also have the highest amount, the strongest effect on building the microbiome, leading to a biofilm that slows the caloric rush and also inhibits. And we're saying here that the combination of beans, greens, nuts, and seeds at lunch, and adding some beans, greens, and nuts and seeds with your dinner, not having like an all starch meal or an all fruit meal or an all, but actually having some of each three has a different outcome on hormones that govern how much food you desire. Do you want to talk about
Yeah,
G-
well, I actually want to bring up something that's really interesting because GLP-1 drugs
yeah.
are all over the media. This is drugs like Ozempic. So you see all these like famous celebrities taking Ozempic and talking how it helps them lose weight because it regulates their appetite, right? So they work by slightly reducing appetite and slowing digestion. But what's so remarkable is that the Nutritarian diet, rich in beans, greens, nuts, and seeds, naturally activates the same pathways, often 4 times more effectively than GLP-1 drugs. And plus, those foods come with other hormones that work synergistically to do the same thing. And I want to explain this on a mechanism level because we're all about understanding the science to being successful here. And GLP-1 is a gut hormone released by intestinal cells in response to eating, especially when certain nutrients are present. So it acts on the brain's appetite center to reduce hunger and lessen those cravings for high calorie, pleasure driven foods, as well as enhancing insulin secretion and slowing gastric emptying, all things that promote a lasting feeling of satiety and helping stabilize blood sugar. So this way of eating slows the gastric emptying even more than the medication does. It allows your body to produce GLP-1 naturally, endogenously within the body, while also improving insulin sensitivity far beyond what the drug can achieve and lowering that post-meal glucose, which is called postprandial glucose, more effectively and sustainably. For example, there's something called thylakoids, and they're the membranes found in green leaves of green vegetables. And they have been shown to suppress a hormone that's your body's main hunger hormone and actually enhances GLP-1, increasing satiety and reducing appetite. So instead of relying on, external drugs for some people like these celebrities to trick your system, here what we're doing is teaching our body to regulate appetite and metabolism naturally through real food. And it's all about what you're feeding your body and how much.
Yeah. So if I understand you correctly, the foods that you're recommending on the Nutritarian diet, they silence hunger, nourish the body, and allow people to eat at a lower caloric deficit so that they can lose weight.
While being
Yes.
satisfied.
Yeah, they're satisfied with the lower caloric level. In other words, they'll be able to ascertain their own caloric needs and be comfortable not wanting to eat past their caloric needs, right?
Exactly.
That's
Something that oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just confused because I know Judy and she doesn't look overweight to me at all. So why does she feel she's overeating? If I mean, can you be overeating and still be?
yeah, yes. Many people who are of a normal weight are still overeating, and then like for example, at my wife's birthday party, I overate. I overate too much banana ice cream at the dessert, and I had poor digestion, and I didn't sleep well. I had like a little reflux because I ate so much of that banana ice cream at night. I overate. The point is that a lot of people just overeating even 100 calories a day or 200 calories a day will speed up their metabolic rate to burn off the extra calories and not put weight gain. And the speeding up their metabolic rate, running their engine at a higher temp, will accelerate the aging process and start to create digestive disturbances or reflux or so people habituate to overeating, and many people who look normal weight, their BMI is normal, they look normal, they still have excessive body fat. Maybe a woman's body fat's above 25%, but she still doesn't look overweight. So yeah, we want a high muscle to fat ratio. We want the body fat below 25% for women, and we want them to not overeat because eating, as you can imagine, sure there are a lot of people that are eating meals to fullness are still they're still weight, they didn't gain weight. Their weight is okay. But because of that, they're creating inefficient digestion, enzymatic insufficiency to put that much to digest that many food at one time in the stomach, and some increased production of factors that are going to age them because they exceeded their digestive capacity for that meal. So yeah, there's a lot of people that maybe don't look overweight who are still overeating and increasing metabolism or not digesting efficiency, or they could be creating disease with their food choices and eating excessive calories.
Yeah, you really shouldn't feel changes in your body when eating. So I can go for a run after I eat a meal because I'm not overdoing it and I'm not feeling like my throat's burning or my stomach's really rumbling. And that's one of the things that I think people should focus on is you don't want to feel like you have to sit on the couch after a meal.
Yeah.
Great, thanks. If you guys just joined us, we're talking to Dr. Joel Fuhrman and Dr. Cara Fuhrman about their 21-day super immunity detox, which starts Monday. There's links below to register. You get a 20-day Nutritarian meal plan with 60 satisfying recipes, live Zoom sessions, not Zoo sessions, Zoom sessions with Doctors Fuhrman and Fuhrman and experienced coaching team, 20 on-demand video lessons on nutrition, food addiction, and healthy aging. And as a bonus, 3 months of gold membership with access to 2,100 recipes, a supportive community, and exclusive resources. So that's pretty cool because you can talk about just drfuhrman.com. I mean, so maybe somebody didn't want to join the detox, but you have a wonderful online community that you've had as long as I've known you.
Yes, we've had this community, and it's been helpful because people to connect with each other who are interested in the nutritarian lifestyle, and also they connect with me. And for people who need to, they can actually um, speak to me about their own personal problems, their own personal health conditions through the Ask the Doctor forum there. So it enables people, even though I wasn't seeing patients in all these years, I was still in contact with a lot of people gaining my advice through the Dr. Fuhrman website.
Yeah. Are you involved with that website, Dr. Cara Fuhrman?
Yes, the all the resources on there are absolutely amazing. I'm not on Ask the Doctor forum yet because I've been focusing on seeing patients in real time, but we're going to transition to both of us being on there. And there's also so many resources for education on there, which I love because you can type in on Google even any condition, like let's say osteoporosis, Dr. Furman, and it'll pull up a health condition from the Dr. Furman website where you can learn all about it, but it also takes you to more references. So if you want to dive deeper, you can get the books, you can get the studies, all that you need to see where the information is coming from. So it has a lot of great resources, and I highly recommend while you're getting your PhD in your own body to use that as a textbook, really. It's a online textbook.
Our members have an Eat to Live masterclass. They can go through also 20 other lectures, 20-minute lectures.
Mhm.
But there's something I'm going to give you a taste of, not a taste of, but I'm going to tell you about that we're launching in approximately a month from now. It's called AI, Dr. Furman. It's that people can go to the Dr. Furman website and ask questions of all different types and get an AI Dr. Furman answer, communication, both you know, both scientifically and emotionally of this AI Dr. Furman, an AI version of myself, a robotic version of myself, giving them assistance and help to the questions they ask. Now, should they want to join at the level and increase the membership, they ask me personally, they can, but they can also ask the AI Dr. Furman to get a lot of help. So they won't need to have the real Dr. Furman answer their questions.
Mhm.
Only when necessary, I'll be there to answer those people.
That is so interesting. But will the AI Dr. Furman sing, dance, and tell jokes?
You know
Probably.
what? Probably. Since the AI version has listened to like hundreds of my lectures and read all my books and everything and every podcast I've ever been on, and in the last 30 years, it's incorporated the AI and it's probably got a lot of my jokes already in there. I mean, you
Yeah.
never know?
That's great. So there's a couple of questions. I'll read them both because they happen to be about grains. But just to let you know, Byzantine Ladybug just signed up for the challenge. Congratulations! And she said her first question is she cannot tolerate oats. Should I substitute quinoa or buckwheat? And then there's a question on Instagram from Ellie: is how important are grains? My understanding is that they're important in lowering cholesterol. However, for me, they trigger overeating.
They're not essential. Like certainly there's a lot of options of grains. You don't have to eat oats. There's teff, there's amaranth, there's a lot of different options. I often have for breakfast, a little bit of some grain, a small amount. I probably only have like a third of a cup to a half a cup because I put the flat ground flax seeds, ground chia seeds. I usually put a tablespoon of like wheat germ, raw wheat germ in there, plus the soy milk and the blueberries and the cherries. And if I have too much grain, I can't fit it in them. It's too much food. So in a small amount, but if a person doesn't like grain or they don't tolerate grains for some reason, they don't have to eat grains. But sometimes it's a small amount of grains. It adds more diversity and in the diet and certain other fibers that other foods don't give you. So it's good to have that diversity and find one that you like or that you could digest well. For some people, quinoa is a great grain, but for other people with certain diseases like lupus or Crohn's disease, it may not be the best grain.
Mhm. And for anything like for a person that says a certain food is contributing to them overeating and causing their food addiction, it's better to just not eat it because there's so many other things you can eat and you can't include everything. We want to have as much as possible, but replace it with something else that makes you feel like you can make this a sustainable change. And maybe later on when your food habits change, you can add something like that back in.
In small
So
amounts, you can start adding it back if you
yeah,
want.
so I agree with that philosophy. When in doubt, leave it out. But here's the $1 million question from Rebecca. What if the food that triggers me to overeat are nuts and seeds? Because you talk about how important they are.
The best thing you can do for someone who's like triggered by nuts and seeds is to put it in things like a dressing. So you make your salad dressing out of nuts and seeds, and then you can portion it out for each individual serving. I used to have these tiny glass jars that I would actually meal prep with and put my dressing already measured out in the 2 tablespoons in the jar so that when I made my salad, I was getting my nuts and seeds just from the salad dressing. And it was already portioned out for me, so I didn't have to think about how much to have or that I was going to overdo it. But another thing that you can do is he doesn't love to do this as much as I do, sprinkle ground flax seeds on my salad because you're not going to probably overeat a handful of ground flax seeds. So that still increases the absorption of the nutrients in the vegetables when you're eating your salad.
Thank you. That's a
The
great
overeating
idea.
on nuts and seeds still come from the concept of recreational eating. recreational eating, and emotional eating. Obviously, a person can gain weight or overeat from addictive eating, from recreational eating, from emotional eating, but we're eating outside of the demands of true hunger. You see, we're trying to connect people with the instinctual need for calories, which where if you're eating healthy enough, then you feel hungry, in a different part of your body, actually, in the upper part of your chest, lower part of your throat. And eating when you're hungry dictates the amount of calories you should eat. And so it's getting healthy till you can get your instinctual need for hunger activated and get rid of the desire to emotionally overeat or recreationally eat. So really, that's a psychological disturbance where you want to have extra calories and look for concentrated calories like dates or nuts or dried fruit, where you're using those as a substitute for the caloric rush because you're still using food as a recreational caloric source. So that's part of the training is
Mhm.
not to use food as a recreational caloric source.
Yeah, makes sense. Jennifer would like to know if somebody is already whole food plant-based but dealing with deficiencies, is it not recommended to do your detox that starts on Monday?
This is not about rigid caloric deficit here. We're not equating any increased deficiencies or deprivation. We're trying to have people ascertain the precise calories that's best for their longevity and stick with it long term for the rest of their life. So, so this way of eating leads to sufficiencies, but we recognize that there are certain insufficiencies that can occur from a vegan diet that some people can be worse for some people than others, which we can help people evaluate and make the appropriate recommendations to make sure that. And now those simply are B12, zinc, iodine are the main three, and DHA, the main four. Those are the main four substances that people could need more of and could sabotage their success on a plant-based or vegan program. So certainly, but we're going to get more B2, more, they're going to get more carotenoids and more, all bioflavonoids, and they're going to get more protein and more essential fatty acids and more ALA and more. They're going to get more. And we're not overly restricting calories because when you restrict calories too far down, let's say with water fasting, juice fasting, intermittent fasting, all those things can lead to more yo-yoing of a person's weight, overly slowing the metabolism, and building up more obsession in this dietary, aggressive, we could say an on-off cycling of dietary cycling leads to more obsessions about food, thinking about food, the dieting mentality, and has a lower probability of long-term success. So right now I'm saying that incorporating water fasting, juice fasting, intermittent fasting, and excessive caloric restriction is not the methodology that leads to permanent weight loss and satisfaction with the right caloric load. There's a different, but we have a different purpose here. Our purpose is to have people be instinctually and comfortably in touch with the right diet and the right food and right caloric window that they could maintain comfortably for the rest of their life.
So one of the questions a viewer is asking, will you touch base with the participants individually to help them determine what their ideal caloric range is?
Well, there'll be Q&As where they'll be able to communicate with me. Yeah, but not like just one-on-one. It's with a group of other people in the same thing. But yeah, and I'm giving them the information where what they need to know to determine their own caloric window for sure.
Great. Thank you. Here's just a general question because I know, you're not an advocate of sugar, oil, or salt. What's the best source of iodine, asks Veronica, since salt is not recommended?
Well, we have the 150 micrograms of iodine put in our supplements because even though the best source is kelp, we have iodine from kelp in the supplement because when you're using kelp, or seaweed for a source, you could take too much iodine very easily or too little. It's not measured as carefully. Now, don't forget, 1/10 of a teaspoon of kelp has the RDI of 150 micrograms. So if you put too much kelp on your food as a flavoring, you can cause hypothyroidism from taking in too much iodine. Right now, I'm saying that iodine deficiency can cause hypothyroidism and iodine excess can cause hypothyroidism. So we just prefer to, I'm not, so you can do a little bit of kelp, but it's not food based. It's really just you take the supplement to make sure it stays right in the perfect level is most consistent, for most people.
Nice. How long can people sign up even up to the last minute since, is there a certain point after which they can't sign up anymore?
I don't know the answer. I'm sure they could
I don't
sign
think
up.
so.
I think once it starts, they could, if they miss the first day or the introduction, they could still do it. I don't know when we cut it off. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, sign up, guys. The link is there. Join Byzantine Ladybug. Let's see. Okay, I saw. Oh, well, it's not a question. It's a comment from Judy, who was the one that's saying she's overeating, even though I've seen her and she doesn't look overweight. She says it's very uncomfortable to overeat, and I know it's aging me, and I can't do much of anything after eating because I'm stuffed. So I guess the question is, will you deal with, I guess, what she is maybe experiencing emotional eating in this program?
Yes, and you habituate to overeating. And it's one of the, forms of food addiction. Even people eating healthfully, they just get so used to habituate to overeating. And a lot of, as you know, people are telling people that, encouraging that, eat till full, eat as much food as you want. If you eat healthy, you can eat everything you want, you can eat till you're full. And it's just not good to stress your digestive tract by forcing so much food in your body at one time. So yes, I mean, we definitely, Judy, this is a good point to bring up. And the fact that you recognized it and are discussing it is the first step towards solving it. So that's terrific that you recognize that, and we could continue to address that moving forward.
Yeah, that's what, well, that's kind of like the premise with gastric bypass is the stomach is being made smaller, but people can eventually learn to bypass the bypass.
Yeah, they keep stretching out their stomach over further and further and keep eating, stretching it out, because they're still trying to eat, it's the whole guy is eating till mechanical fullness and not eating to biochemical fullness. We're saying you could be satisfied with what you ate and content without eating till fullness.
Right. But if people are eating the standard American diet, they will possibly be mechanically full, but on a nutrient level, they're never going to be satisfied. So they're always going to overeat calories.
They'll always be unsatisfied. And the drive to overeat is so strong that they can't succeed at getting back to a healthy place. They could never successfully lose weight and keep it off because the biological drive to overeat is too powerful.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing this program, guys. This would be a great chance for you to work with both Dr. Fuhrmans at a very affordable entry point. And it'll be a great time to do it because pretty soon it's going to be Thanksgiving, a very tempting holiday for those of us that struggle with food issues because they made it just for us.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a great time to avoid putting yourself at risk by gaining weight through the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great point. It could set you up for success going into the holidays.
Yeah, perfect. I think it's a perfect time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect time would be today so that they can avoid the temptation tomorrow. And then, what they do is after they've been putting out the Halloween candy earlier and earlier every year. It actually, I saw it appear on Labor Day. Okay. Labor Day, September 1st. Halloween's not till October 31st. And then tomorrow, people will be, November 1st, people will be at Target and all those stores because guess what? It's going to be even cheaper the day after.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think, are people going to trick or treat where you live? And what are you going to give out this year? Or do they come even now?
I don't think
I don't,
we've never gone trick-or-treaters ever since we moved to San Diego. When we were in Jersey, we lived in a neighborhood that was really popular for trick-or-treating, but not so much here.
yeah. The retreat is on like a 5-acre lot, so the houses are further apart here.
People would be going on hikes in
Yeah.
order to
They wouldn't get enough
trick-or-treat.
houses. They'd take them too much walking to get to 5 houses. Where they want to get a neighborhood with a lot of houses close together, they get a lot of candy.
Yeah.
Funny. And
But
then,
we would be giving out glow sticks if we
We'd be
could.
giving out, bouncing balls. We use that Oriental Trading Company to buy like a gross of some toy that we can give to the kids.
yeah, I think we should just abolish the holiday. Not abolish the holiday, but this practice of, I mean,
Oh yeah,
honestly, I'd rather have money if I was going to.
Yeah.
I'd like to trick or treat and have people just throw, money in my dish. Well, guys, thank you so much. I'm so excited about your center, and I'll have the information link below if people want to make an appointment with either of you for a personal consultation or any of the imaging that you're going to be offering. And of course, the links to the detox will be there. And in a couple weeks, the link to register for Las Vegas Plant Powered Party 2026, where you both will be a prominent part again. We're so excited to have you back, and thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah,
Thank you.
all of it's so exciting, and the plant powered party was so fun this year. So I'm
I
looking
mean,
forward
you're
to
just
doing
you
it
just
again.
like you're just taking off. I mean, you're gonna be unstoppable. I mean, it's great. Like, we now have another Dr. Fuhrman in the house. So
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations. And thank you all for watching. Please register for the detox below and come back at 1 o'clock for another great show. I'll be talking to Dr. Matt Letterman on whether or not